Refuge Cove. Resupply, a little bit of provisioning, a little bit of quaintness. There's actually a little bookstore here, a little gallery, and a little restaurant looking over the cove. However, it's closed today, which is a shame because we were kind of looking forward to it. Anyway, pick up a few fresh vegetables, a little more ice, and we'll head back out. Cheers. This is the head of Teekern Arm, or Teekern Inlet, perhaps. Amazing spot. We're anchored in 30 feet of water with 180 feet of anchor rode out, because right in front of the boat it just drops like a cliff. We've just walked over to Castle Lake, which feeds Castle Falls. I'm sure I've shown you some footage of that. Really an amazing spot, and to be able to come here at a time of year there's only 2 boats in the cove, really impressive. Really impressive. Awesome spot. Just high over Castle Falls at the head of the bay, and just wanted to show you something really funky here. Of course, logging, British Columbia, it's all about logging, and there's an old donkey engine in here, just abandoned. I know to some this would just be garbage, but to see it here I find just so interesting. You can see the hood of where the engine was at one time. The engine's been taken out, but they left all the gear and all the old cables to drag the logs out of the woods. Just left where they were the last day they ran. Anyway, this is really an amazing spot, looking out over the inlet. Cheers. We're just going around the top of East Redonda Island. On your right, there's a tiny little island over my right shoulder that's at the gap. This will be the furthest north of our trip. Trying to shelter you from the wind a little bit. I don't know if this video is going to have to be overdubbed. So here we are, swinging around the very top of East Redonda on our way around into the top of the channel between the Redondas, where we're going to stay at Waddington Cove. It's funny, it seems windy, but there's not really much fetch on the water. It's actually pretty easy going. This is a bit of a long haul for us. This is about 3.5 hours, largely because of a change in plans. As I may have already mentioned, we were kind of hoping to get back into the mountains, and in the mountains we are. Good morning. We're in Waddington Cove at the top of Waddington Channel, which is between the Redonda Islands. Really neat spot. Deep mountains coming in here. We had about 5 boats in here overnight, all stern tide, and the last one is just leaving. Really a nice spot. We were a little slow getting anchored in here because, as it always is, I have about 140 feet of chain and rope, and the boat's only sitting in 20 feet of water. This is a shelf right in front of the boat. Anyway, we got a decent stern tie in, and one of these days I got to show you how we set up a stern tie. It's really pretty straightforward for those who've never done it. Really interesting little group of islands over there. That's where we take the dogs, and I'm about to take you over. Cheers, good morning. Okay, so let's go check out the islands. You know, I know it's contrary to all things ecological and responsible about this part of the world, but I would love to build a house on this island. We're in the tiny little protection islands, which I think are called the Gorge Islands, just at the mouth of Walsh Cove. And this little island with this unbelievable gorge between them, I don't know if you can see them, would just be such a cute place to build a little cabin. I'm a builder after all. That's the thing I like to do. Okay, so I'm over by the rock face just behind where we're anchored. And if you look over my shoulder, I'll give you a close-up of it. You'll see a petroglyph. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then just around the corner, this massive wall up there. Amazing. Just amazing. It's incredible to think that they could last here this long. Well, good morning. We've just come out the top of Waddington Channel. On your right is East Redonda. Behind you is West Redonda. So we're going into new territory today, heading inland, and we're going to go all the way around the top of Redonda and back down into Laura Cove, which is in the Petroglyphs vicinity. Had a really amazing night in Walsh Cove. Amazing spot. I really hope that this camera, this GoPro, does justice. Watch out I don't fall off the boat here. It's a bit lumpy. Does justice to some of these views. It's just amazing. That's looking west towards mainland Vancouver Island. All right, off we go. All right, well that was fun. The drone is gone. My GoPro Karma. I was getting some fantastic footage out here, flying alongside the boat, back and forth, got some amazing stuff. Took off from the boat as it was moving. This is the last thing the screen ever saw. I don't know if you can see this. I'll take a picture of it later. At about just under half power, it said Karma's running low. In another 2 seconds, it said Karma is extremely low, returning to you, which would have been fine if it returned to me, but it didn't. The loudspeaker says returning to takeoff, or returning to something, and it turned around and it took off that way as fast as it could, and nothing I could do with the controls would make any difference on it. And it flew to where it took off, and it landed in the ocean. Well, good morning from Laura Cove in Petroglyphs. Spent the night here. It was really great. Lovely spot. Did some lovely little evening dinghy ride out around the islands. If you've read The Curve of Time, you will know about Laura Cove and the cove next door, Melanie Cove, we stayed in a couple of days ago. Behind me is where Phil's cabin was, and along behind me would be the trail through the wood to Mike's cabin. It's kind of interesting to be here. Both are long gone, and apparently there are some remnants of the homesteads. We don't have a chance to get ashore today because we've got to keep moving to get south by some commitments. But it's neat to be here. Really neat spot. And we're glad to have the sun back because it has been cloudy for a few days, but still been glorious. So heading south to London today. We think we'll have breakfast down in the Copeland Islands somewhere, and we'll check in with you from there. Cheers. Cheers, bye. Well, good evening. It's an awesome little anchorage on the bottom edge of Laskidi Island. We came down from Lund today. Long leg, about 7 hours, but worth it for a spot like this. This may be Squiddy Bay, but there's a tiny harbor just north of here, just a couple hundred yards north of here, that has a dock in it and completely filled with local boats, so there's no way to stay in there, and there's certainly no room to anchor. That may be Squiddy Bay, but this little bay just south of it is a fantastic little anchorage. Only room for a couple of boats in here and completely exposed to the southwest. But as we only have light northwests for the next couple of days, this turns out to be a pretty good spot. Tomorrow we cross across to Vancouver Island. Okay, let's take the boys ashore. Cheers. Wow, this little cove on Laskidi is quite possibly one of the most amazing anchorages we've had on this whole trip. We're not even in Desolation Sound anymore. Again, very bottom of Laskidi Island. It's just one of those fantasy little coves. Meadows all around, beautiful, beautiful big trees, an incredibly gorgeous pebble beach down to the inlet here. Really just incredible, and you can see the boat out there just in the inlet. This is what little fantasy coves are all about. If you're an Arthur Ransom fan, you'll know what I mean. Anyway, really quite a spot. What do you think of that, pup? What do you think of that? Well, hi, we're in Burgoyne Bay on the western side of Salt Spring on our way back home. And I'd heard a rumor there's an old monk, a 42-foot monk that had been in this harbor that had gone up on the shore, and well, yes it has. Really sad to see that. Really sad to see it. Apparently it went aground sometime over last winter. This boat was on anchor right here beside me last time we were here last year, so I'm having to drive a little bit at the same time. Really a shame. Might go over and have a quick look at it. One more monk gone. Cheers. What a shame, what a shame, what a shame. Poor old girl. She'd been all stripped too. Something left of her old compass housing up there. A few instruments left up on the flybridge. And well, coming back into Victoria Harbour after a month away. I don't know how well you can see. Downtown Victoria down there. And into our little harbour. This RV park was closed for a while and it's only just opened again. And back out into the Strait of Juan de Fuca. Well, after a month away, it's kind of funny to come back in here. Seems very small somehow. Anyway, let's get geared up and tied up.